Okay, you can hear me. I'm ready, and you can start the live streaming. Yeah, boss. Hello, can you hear me? Please, can you hear me to start the live stream? Ah, okay. See. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Wow. Okay. So good morning, everyone. I don't know, but good morning, everyone. How was your meeting with she? How was your meeting with him? I guess you were able to learn one or two things from it, and I hope no one reported me, which I'm very sure about. Yeah. Sorry if you have been seeing something different. It was totally unnecessary. How was your meeting? Okay, yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Okay. Yeah, the meeting is short but good. All right, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yesterday, just before I forget, because it's a promise and I wish to fulfill. Chamaka and someone else won something, and I said I'm going to give them something. I think it's Solomon Uche Nweke. I think it's the person. So please, Solomon, if you're the one, please kindly message me on Slack. Let's talk. I have a small prize, what do you call it? A widow mite for you. Okay, the meeting was short, yes. Okay, I want to say something in Yoruba, but we have diverse languages, so I don't need to say it in Yoruba again. But when something is short and sweet, it's enough. So that's great. Okay, please Solomon, please reach out to me. I have settled terms with Chamaka, so let me settle terms with you also. Thank you all for joining the class. How is the assignment going? If you're having issue or you have not done your assignment, if you're having issue or you have not done your assignment, please can you comment in the chat box? Let's talk about it now, because today is my semi-final class. So let's talk about it. What's the tax? Which aspect are you having challenge with? And maybe I will actually want us to do something like a quiz lively on live, like maybe the last class. Let's talk about some JavaScript problem, and let's see what your answer is going to be. There is a website, if I can remember clearly, there is one website called 30 seconds of, is it 30? 30 seconds of interview or so. Let me see, 30 seconds of interview. Yeah, yeah. There is a website like that, 30 seconds of interview that you can easily, okay. Chimere, why haven't you done the assignment? See, the problem I'm having with going into this assignment is this. When you tell me you don't understand it, you can't say you don't understand other assignments. Maybe you have done the CSS. I think the assignment has two aspects. It has CSS aspect and it has JavaScript aspect. So definitely you can't say you have not done the assignment. Have you done the CSS aspect? Have you done the HTML aspect? So which aspect are you having challenge with? So that's why I purposely don't usually I purposely don't want to ask about this, because this is semi-final of my class, so that's what I'm trying to ask. And luckily for you, the other mentor, Silver Code, will also be having class with you hopefully today. So if you're having challenge, which aspect? Maybe you have done with your HTML, CSS aspect. You have how do I call it? You have done the layout, everything is okay. Only for you to click on next and it's giving you issue. Maybe that's what you are having issue on. Then we'll be able to know. But don't just tell me that you are having issue without. It's just like if you are learning a new language, so you always have a challenge. Even if you have known it before, Yoruba is my native language, but they can say something, maybe a parable or something like that that I will not understand. So it's understandable if you don't understand it, but you just don't need to give up. You don't need to, like I was working on something. If you have worked on this music app, I was working on this music app. I hope this is it. Yeah, I was working on it, and there was an aspect I was having some kind of challenge with, and it took me a long period of time. So definitely, you're also going to be having issue. That is understandable, but you just don't give up or you ask questions. But if you are given a task and you say you don't understand it, and that's the reason why you are not doing it, you are not serious about it, because when you get a job, know what you are going to, everything you are going to teach you here is not what we teach you here that you are going to apply in your next job, but problem solving. Like now, let's think about the JavaScript. Let's think about what we are told to do. Now, we're told to what? We're told to have, like, let's say 5 picture or 6. And make sure you put nice picture. So you are told to have like 5 picture or 6. Then you are to, when you click on next, it show the next one. And that's what exactly what you want to do. Now, so how do we go about it? There is always, you have to come about what is the challenge and what could be the solution. I think I've done it, but I'm not interested in doing it again. Now, and even if you are a busy type, I'm very sure by one search on Google, you do the assignment in 5 minutes. That's one thing. But the only thing is that you must try to learn. There was a time when I was a beginner. You know this remote OK website that you can seek for. You're going to be writing some kind of interview, like technical interview. So I think I was given something like that. I should do a slide, something like that in the interview. That's why I make sure that I put it for you, so you too will not go through that experience. So what I was saying was that I was told to go through it. I did it, but on clicking on next, I was having one issue or the other. I can't really remember vividly. So I wasn't able to continue with the recruitment process. So now, and the challenge was that it was the first time I was also seeing it just like you. But when you are seeing a challenge for the first time, break it down to simpler thing. Now, the first thing is this: do your HTML and CSS. Now, if you have done your HTML and CSS, make sure that it is showing only one image. Now, it is showing only one image. Now, assuming it's showing all this, but it's showing all this page now, you need to click on next so that you'll be able to see the next one. So now, if you have done that in HTML, now then and your CSS, then you need some kind of JavaScript. Now, for example, now if you are having Let me quickly run you through something similar that I don't know if I have it here. Okay. I don't know. Okay, I deleted it. Wow. Wow. I deleted it. I deleted it actually. It was totally a mistake. I deleted it. Okay, there's something I can do. Let me see if it's. Oh, did I make a commit when I was deleting? I don't think I'll make a commit. Git start git log. Let me see if I make a commit. I doubt if I'm going to. So I doubt if I'm going to make it. But okay, in okay, let's assume, and I don't want to go through that process of looking for several images. But okay, let's talk it out. And now, if you're having 4 images, give them a display of flex. Now, when you give it, like previously that when you give a container a display of flex, all of them will align on a row. But when you give it, we align a column, sorry, they will form a column and they will just form a single row, one dimension. But if you are using grid, it will align in row. So you will not see changes. You have to use grid template column or grid auto flow. I say grid, sorry, grid auto flow and grid auto column or something like that. So now when you have it, give your image container um, let me see response. This is not one. I want us to finish what we are discussing about them. It's like people do say that. No, if you're having issue with CSS, bye. There's nothing that, even if I'm going to do it, I'm not going to be doing the CSS aspect, basically like that. So you have to find a solution to your CSS issue. Yeah, so it's only, we are in JavaScript class, we are not in CSS class, so you don't expect me to talk about that. I'm done with the HTML. Okay, fine. What about the CSS? You should be able to be done with the CSS also. You just need something like, you have to do overflow of hidden. Even by, I don't know why, even by a mere Google search, if you say carousel in JavaScript, a mere simple Google about it, you will definitely see. I don't want to, this one, you have a lot of things here that you can, you have a lot of things you can do on the website. So I don't know why you are not making use of that. I know most people will do it, but the good thing about JavaScript that you always find different resources about it. You always find different results about it online. So that's why you do not need to memorize a lot of things, but make sure you understand what you are doing. If you are going to be copying the code, make sure you understand what you are doing. This one, and though the person did not put um it here, but still, okay. Let me check my code pen. I think I saved one. Let me check my code pen. Code pen. So now, but what we are going to be doing today is rounding up on our event listener. And I said I want us to do a small project about it. I think I may also made a YouTube video about this. Like how, yeah, it's on my channel. Yeah, if you check like now, you need to fetch data, and this is something that you will definitely be doing in Java in JavaScript. So that's what we call promise. We would call promise. I think we'll talk briefly about that. We'll talk about this event listener. Then I want us to talk about promise. Then I want us to fetch a data from the endpoint, and let's see how it's going to go. So now where we stopped yesterday, we said we can add. Okay, I even deleted everything. We can add event listener. You can also remove event listener. So for example, now let me just there's no way I'm not going to write code. I'm finding a way not to write too much of code, but since I deleted it yesterday, I have to redo it. So I can come here now and create main.html. So I'm creating main.html here. So this is fine. And I can also create let me call it style.css. I think someone has worked on this search, because I later checked, someone has worked on this. So it is, see, you can see someone has worked on that that Zuri repo we have. Someone has worked on the search. You can see the person also used what? Event listener. You can see the person used what? Event listener. So you are definitely going to be using it, especially if you are writing vanilla JavaScript. That means plain JavaScript, you are going to be using something like that. So now this is our main, and this is my style.css. So if I come here now, the only thing I need to write here is just, I want my box sizing here to be border box. So that's the only thing what I will need here. On my main here, I just need to link it. I just need to link my CSS like this. And what do I call it? This is called style. I hope this is correct. Okay, it's correct. So then in my body, I just want to write my JavaScript here. I'm not using another folder. Okay, now we want to talk about how we can use we can use event listener here. For example, here now, just like we said yesterday, I'm having a P here now. A P element, say hello. Now I can add an event listener to this by selecting the element, just like we discussed it the other time. We can select it by the tag name. So let me select by the tag name. Const P is equals, const P equals, I think I need to zoom my screen so that everyone can see. Const P equals document dot get elements is it will be an array, and the tag name is P, but we only need the first one. Sorry, we need the first one at the index of 0. Hope this is clear, because all you put it here is still the same thing. So we need just the first one. If I console log P now, that's what we have, console log P. So we are selecting the first one. I'll have to open with live server here. So this is our HTML now. Let's see our browser, what we have here. So we are having, everything is fine now. So this is our P. Don't forget that document.get elements by tag name. You can see it's a plural. So it's going to give you an HTML collection. You can see to give you HTML collection. But we are using the first one. Now we can add event listener to this. Just like you can come here and say on click here. On click, just like you can say, or there's also on double click. That is on DB click. This on double click now. On double click, you should just do alert 1, 2, 3. So this is double click now. So if I come here now and I double click this, you can see now it's bringing what? It's bringing 1, 2, 3. If I click it once, it's not work. So I have to double click it like this. So this how we can do it in our HTML. We can add it to it, pass it as an attribute. But if we want to use JavaScript, we need to add an what? Event listener to the element that we selected. So now that's what we are coming and say P dot add event listener. Now, what's the event listener I want to add is mouse over. The event listener I want to add is what? Mouse over. Then I said it's going to take a function. You can either use an arrow function or you define your function outside. For example, if I said mouse func, if I come here and say mouse func here, if I say mouse func here, if I save this now, I need to define this function. If I didn't define this, it will definitely bring an error. So you can see mouse func is not defined, so I need to define it. The different way you can define, I can come here and define it by using a function, because we know what we call hoisting. This one will move to the top of this script, so it's going to see this. Okay, we are giving coincidence, or if you put it, I can put it here. I can put it here. So hoisting will let it to move to the top of this place. It will be and now come here at line 13 or line 14. So it's going to see its function. Mouse func here is going to give us something like this, a function now. So this is what we need. So since we have defined this function now, when you mouse over it, what do you want to do? Also the log 1, 2, 3. So when you mouse over, when you put your mouse over this thing, it should what? It should console log. So if I come here now, you can see now it's bringing console 1, 2, 3. It's bringing it again. So this is how we are going to add event listener. There are a lot of things that you can add to it. Just like that double click, you can also add it here. Double click. I hope I'm correct with the spelling. Let me move on it. So I think that's the correct spelling. So now if I click on it here, as you can see now it's writing 1, 2, 3. So this is how you usually add an event listener. If I go to W3 school, I go to W3 school, we can talk more about some of the things we have here. So you can definitely read about it. So that's just the basics on how you are going to be adding an event listener to something. So I'm trying to see if I have any comments here. So now, so that's how our event listener comes. So you can add any event listener, and you can also remove any event listener. You can add a single element can have more than one event listener. It is possible. So now, so these are just way of doing it. And I said we're having 2 parameters, but here we're having 2 parameters. We're having 2 parameters. The other one, the last parameter is what we call event propagation. You can read more about event propagation here. Event propagation, we have 2 ways. We have 2 things. If you have a div and you have a p element inside it. Now, how do you want it when you click it? Do you want the p to be clicked? So, or do you want the p to be clicked first, or you want your div to be clicked first? So in bubbling, the inner one, that means the p. If you're having a div and you're having a p, just like this. Assuming I'm having a div here that has a p. Yeah. Now, if I'm attaching an event listener to this now, when I use bubbling, it is the child, and that means the inner one, the innermost element is handled first. So it is the child. Why capturing it is the words, the outer one that will be the one that will be handled first. So now the default is false. So it's going to be using what? Bubbling. That means the inner one will be the one that's just the logic thing. You know, if you have something here, the inner one should be the one that you're going to click first before you click the parent. So that's just the logic. So now the third parameter, don't really need it. That's why most of the event listener you are going to be seeing, just like the one your colleague wrote here. We are only having two parameters here, the key hop and this value. The top parameter is not there, and the default is just the default is false. The default is false. Why are we having this? Okay, sorry, it's not supposed to be here because this is the function here. It's an arrow function, so it's going to be here as a false. So this is how it's supposed to be, but you don't really need to put it because you don't want to click on the parent first. So unless you want to click on the parent first, that's when you are going to be needing it. So with that being said, so we are here now. So we have talked about how we can add event listener. You can add any event listener, and you can also remove event listener. What I'm going to do now is we want to do a mini project. I have done it in a YouTube video, but I can't precisely remember. Now let's talk about, let me open a website called JSON placeholder. We have a JSON placeholder now. Now this aspect, there's no way you are going to be a front-end developer without interacting with backend, without working with what? Without working with API. So definitely you are going to work with API. So you will need to know how to do it. There are different ways of fetching it. Most people use the fetch method. Some use issues. So there are different ways you can definitely fetch your work, fetch data from the remote server. So now here now, this is a JSON placeholder. You definitely you could have definitely be using this several times. So now you can see we run script here now. It's bringing something like this. So let's assume that you are given, or let me just open, I don't know, let me see if I can open the task and let's do it together. Or we should not, maybe I don't need to open it. So now maybe you are told to fetch. You can see now we are having this user. If you are seeing this, because I have a JSON format also, I think so I have it. So now if you are told to fetch a data from a remote source, something like this, you are giving this URL. This is supposed to be your second task this week, but because of time and time is against us, that's why we are not doing it. So now I'll come here now and I will search. Let's do promise. Let's search. Let's do promise. You can see now we are having promise here. We have async and await, but we can just only do promise. I believe that if you go through your by doing promise, you can definitely understand what we mean by async and await. So if you're having issue, okay, are we together? So now we have a promise, just like we know what we mean by promise. Promise is when you promise somebody something. So, and if you promise someone something, at the moment it can be pending when you have not done it, when you have not fulfilled your promise. That's the stage. When you have fulfilled it, it's either you fulfill the promise or you reject it. So a promise contains both producing code and calls to consuming code shell. So you can read about it. A promise can either be, you can either fulfill a promise or you reject it. If I promise that, like now, I promised those people that got my question correctly yesterday, I promised them something. I promised them something. Now, if I promised them, that's as yesterday I promised them, it's still pending. I didn't talk about it, or we didn't later talk about it. So by today, is either I resolve it, that means I fulfill the promise, or I reject it. So that's what we mean by promise. You can definitely read more about it. So for you to work out a promise, you have to create a promise. You have to create a promise. So now that will take us to That will take us to the code now. So now you can see the syntax here. A promise will take a promise. You have to create a promise. This is an object in JavaScript. When you want to create an instance of an object is when you use new. For example, now by creating the way you create function, like now if you want to create a new string, if you want to create a new string, let me just a run through. If you want to create a new string like this, you can say const s equals new, I think it's like new string. So now our hex, if you say now, you can see now I've created x now is now a string. So if I come to say type of x here is a what? X here is an object, no? Okay, yeah, because our hex here now is what? Is a string. So that's just how it's because the way it's being done. So now, so you can always create a number, you can always create using new. So you can always use new, let's say const y. Const y equals new number. So our y now is what? Is a number. So these are ways you can always create something. I think let's say okay, I'm using const. So that's how you are going to do it. So that's how promise also works. So for you to create a promise, where am I working on? So now you have to create a promise. So now if I come here and say const, I'll put this side by side so that it will be easier. And this also. So you can see both of the two screens now. So we can come here and say we can either use const or then because we are not going to be changing it, we can always use promise. And let's say const my promise, just like we have here, should be equals to. So if you want to make a promise, you have to use the new. The promise is an object. So when you can see now, it's an object here, and it takes in two parameters. It takes in a two parameters like this, and that means if you are coming here now, it's going to be something like this, and you're having something like this. It takes in a callback like this. Now we're having this callback here as a function. It has to be a callback function. So it's taking in a callback function. You can remember how it was being written. We have a way of creating function. So we can come here and say const x is this. This is how we create a function here. This is one way of creating function. And another way is just using function like this and just do something like this. So there are different ways of creating it, but most especially people use ES6 way by creating an arrow function. So we are creating an arrow function. Then it is what? It creates two things. We are going to be having, it takes in two things as a parameter or as an argument. The one is if it is successful, and another one is if it is what? If it is if it fails. For example, now we can say what they usually use is resolve, comma, or reject. So now this is how it works. If you don't understand this, please let me know. I hope we are together. So let me know. Are we together? I think you should reject. Okay, I don't get that aspect, Sammy. So we have this thing. We're having a resolve and a reject. Now, how do we use it? Now, for example, now you want to do two things. That if something is true, you should do this. If something is true, you should do this. And if it is rejected, you should do this. So now see an example here. Now let's assume this is a very good example. Let's say let my class rep should equal to Chiamaka. Now we together. Now this one, now we can either resolve it or reject it. So now this is a condition. So now we can say if my class rep, so if or let's just use something that will be more easier. Let my class rep should be true. So now if my class rep is true like this, you can come here, like you can write it like this, or you can come it like this. Because anything inside your if statement, that parameter is going to be resolving to a Boolean, true or false. So if class rep, that is true. So if class rep now, it should resolve to be I have a class rep. So I have a class rep. So now, if it's not, you should just reject. Our X is that if it's not if it's not true, you should just reject. No class rep. So this is what we have. If it's so now we can see now it's taking these two parameters here. And if you want to resolve it, this is where you are going to be resolving it. Now we have done it now. And if you see here, this is just, we have not called anything. This is just we have only resolved this to be a variable. So nothing is going to happen. So how do we make use of it? Now that's what we mean by how you are going to be using it is that we are going to be using what we call then and cache method. We have something we call then and cache method. Then and cache. Then is if something is successful, the value will be inside then. If it's not successful, the value will be in the inside cache. Inside them, this is our cache here. So now since this is what our promise is, if it's looking somehow, just follow me along and I will still repeating myself. So now if you want to get what this our promise here, what it resolves to now, we have to use my promise dot then. This then also takes in a callback function, a function like this. Now this is what our value that is being resolved. This is what is going to be there. Now you can say console.log the value here. I know it might look a little bit, if it's your first time of doing it, it will look a little bit difficult. Just hang on with me. Now, if this thing is true, it is going to resolve to be. If it is true, we are using this then. Then if our answer is being rejected, if our promise is being rejected, we are going to be using cache. Then you can do it you can also continue chaining it. There's something we call chaining in JavaScript. I think I wrote an article about it. Yeah, I wrote an article about it. So now you can keep chaining this then because this it is referring to this. My promise here is the object. That's your this. So you can keep using it. That looks an advanced topic. So now if it is not being resolved, you can also come here and say my promise.cache. It's still going to work. Yeah, like this. My promise. If it's not being resolved, what do you want? Maybe it's it's coming. Let's say it's an error. Then you say console.log error. Now let's see what we'll have, and so that I can be able to better explain. Class rep is not defined. Okay, I'm saying my class rep here, and I'm using my class rep here. So definitely it doesn't understand it. Yeah, that's true. Now you can see now I have a class rep. We can just come here and say, let's just put it inside my screen. Document.write. Let's use document.write. Should write our value. Should put it on our screen. And this one here should put it on our screen. Now it's going to put it. Now I have a class rep. If I change this one to false, so it's because this thing is true. Is this one is what? Because it is true. This one is the one that get executed. But if it is false, this one will get what? The other one will get executed. If I save it now, no, that's not what I want to do. If I save it now, no class rep, no class rep, because it's an what? It's an error. It's going to throw it like an error. What? No class rep. No class rep. I hope this is clear. Do you have someone that this example of promise is not clear to? Femi Emmanuel. Okay, well, I can just go over this again. What brings us to this topic is what I promised yesterday. Promise is also available in JavaScript. When you promise to do, when you want to do something, or when you expected to execute something, when you expected to what execute something. For example, now, I promised Jamaka and Nweke yesterday. I promised them something. So that then I've made a promise. It's either the promise can be pending, it can be fulfilled, or it can be rejected. That means I can either decide like, oh, I'm their mentor, I'm giving them this thing. Or I can also say, no, I'm their mentor and I'm not going to be giving them shishi. So these are possible. So a promise can be what? Can be either be resolved or rejected. A promise can what? Can either be resolved or rejected. That's what they have in states. So the state is either pending, that means when you are working on, when something has not been done. For example, now, if I'm saying, okay, count 1 to 150, anybody that counts 1 to 150, I'm going to give them money. Now, while they are counting them 1 to 150, the state of that promise is what is pending. That means it has not been done. Now, if someone was able to count 1 to 50, then the state is what is fulfilled. Then if possibly maybe they are not able to count 1 to 50, then the state is what is rejected. That means there's an error. Someone is not able to what? Someone is not able to do it. So this is what all these things all about. All what you are saying here, that is what it's all about. When you make a promise, it's either be pending, rejected, or fulfilled. You will definitely, yeah, thank you. You definitely need this, because there's no way you can run away from promise. Just that because if you are not running away from promise, or you are running away from promise, then you have to be comfortable with callback L. So, but okay. Femi, I'm trying to go through this so that you can able to understand it. Now, I've explained that's just our normal way in life. A promise can either be fulfilled, pending, or rejected. This is a very, very important topic that you just have to, I don't know how you are going to do it. You just have to know it. You just have to know it, at least, even if it's going to be Babe's theory. So now there's a way we usually declare a promise, and there's a way we usually fulfill it. For example, now, if I want to give you something, I'm going to declare that anyone that gets can reach 1 to 50, I'm going to give them 1,000 naira. That's how we declare a promise. Now, how we are going to use it is that maybe the promise, the gift is 1,000 naira. Then I'm going to be giving you 1,000 naira recharge card. That's how we are going to be using that promise I need. So that's just a similitude we have in JavaScript. Now, let me come back to what I've written here. No, then we have what, where we are going to declare the promise. We call this declaration of promise. So this is where I'm going to declare that, oh, I'm going to promise you, and this is where I'm going to either fulfill or reject it. So this is where I'm going to utilize it. Let me just put it as utilize here, so that it will Okay, I hope you can all see my screen. Check my network. Yes, a promise is a keyword. Thank you. A promise is a keyword. Is a keyword. Just like you have string, you have something like this. You can't use something like this in JavaScript. You can't use something like this. String. This is also a keyword. This number, they are all keyword. So when you write, you are going to be defining another one. Let me see. So that's how it's a keyword. So for you to be able to use it again, reuse it, you have to put new. Function is also a new keyword. That function, you can write a function. I can't remember, but you can write a function like this. You can see function 2 is like this. You can write a capital letter F, function like this. So if you want to create another function, you have to create an instance of it. That's all we got. If you want to create another function, like for example now, how will I explain it? Yeah, let me just explain like that. So I will, because of time, for you to be able to create, you have to use the new keyword. So for you to use, for you to be able to use a promise, you have to use this new keyword. That means you are creating your own copy. For example, now, if you want to use, if I share you a Google Docs now and you want to use it again, so you have to like say make a copy. So when you are making a copy in JavaScript, when you use new, I hope that simple example will go a long way. So now for you to is a method. So for you to be able to do it now, the first thing is that you not you have a new promise here like this. You assign it to a variable like this. You can use let or const. Now, when you are making a promise, it takes in. I'm going to delete something here. A promise is like this. Now it takes in a callback function. It takes in a function. It takes in a function. Now you can write your function like this. If you are not like me, you can write your function like this and this. So this is the function it takes in. Inside that function, there's two parameters we are going to be. It takes in two arguments also. The argument here is either resolve, comma, or reject. That means, like we said earlier in our promise, is either our promise is being fulfilled or it is being rejected. So you can put anything here. You can pay fulfill and cancel. Anything you put here is okay because it's a parameter. Now, we are here now. How this is clear up to this aspect, Femi? Okay, yeah, thank you. No, Chamaka, please confirm if you can hear me because yeah, my screen was frozen sometimes ago, but it's okay now. Please confirm if you can hear me clearly. How people can hear me. This one that maybe I should keep talking. So now we can either have a promise can either be fulfilled or be rejected. The promise can either be fulfilled or rejected. Now, this argument here, now, if you want to, you're now going to be using it. Tell us what will happen if something is being fulfilled. If something is being fulfilled, tell us what is going to happen. So if it is fulfilled here, okay, now let me use this. If this fulfilled here, what are you expecting it to happen? What is something that you want to, if it is fulfilled here, you say, okay, if this thing is fulfilled, let it be Nigeria is my country. So if this thing is fulfilled, it should just return Nigeria is my country or cancel, or you should do this, not anymore. So now these are how you are going to do. But what is it going to be fulfilled? What do you want? What is that thing that you want? What is that thing that you want? So for example, now let's say that if this thing, if let's say let my x, let's come here, let's say, sorry, let's say let x should be 20, or let's fine. So now if our x is 2, we want the promise to be fulfilled. If our x equals 2, you can write it like this. If our x is 2, you just return what? Fulfill, like this. You should do this. You should do this. Or if it's not true, then you should just do this. You should do cancel. So now, with that being said, now we can how we are going to utilize is that we are going to take our promise here. Then we are going to what? Concatenate it. We are going to be using the then method with him. If something is successful, we are going to be using dot then. If it is successful, we are going to be using dot then. But if it's not successful, we are going to be using, if it failed, we are going to be using dot cash. So now that is how we come about it. I just hope you can later hear me. So Nigeria is my what? Nigeria is my country because what? Because it is successful, it is fulfilled. So this is just the basic way we can use promise. Okay, this is just the basic way we can use promise. Okay, Femi, if you can hear me now, because I want you to get this. If you can hear me now, do you understand what I just explained now? Or which aspect do you still need more clarification on? So I'm waiting for your response before I. So this is how our promise has been fulfilled. And if our S is not true, it will throw an error. If I come in and put my S to be false, you can see it's bringing in what? Not anymore, because it is false. So this is how promise work, or this is just the basic example. You can build something on this. At least try to understand this concept. Then you can go over about it. So you can definitely go about it. I'm waiting for your I'm waiting for your response so I'll be able to so Femi, please, I'm waiting for you. I want you to confirm if you get the class so that we can move on, or we can end the class. So today we talked about promise. That's the basic of our class. How we can make a promise, how we can define the syntax of promise, and how if what to do if it is resolved, and what to do if it is rejected. So in tomorrow's class, we'll talk better about what to do if a promise is resolved, and the typical example if it is resolved or if it is rejected. So I'm expecting, I don't know, Chiamaka, can you hear me? Oh, I am glad to hear that it's clearer now. So yeah, the mini project this is already past 11. So definitely I will do that tomorrow. I will do that in the afternoon. It's supposed to be your task, but because of our timeline, we're not going to be having that task. So we are going to be doing it as a classwork tomorrow by God's grace. So Isaac, we are going to be doing that. Yeah. So if it's clearer now, so thank you for joining the class. So try and read about it. And that is how promise actually works. So I can mark our scheme that we have talked about something like the promise. And tomorrow we'll talk about projects that require promise, like fetching a data from an endpoint. So thank you all for joining the class. I'm still just waiting for people response here. Bye. Come out, or I'm waiting for my landlord to knock. Mhm. So, in absence of no question, so in absence of no question, we can. So in the absence of no question, we can definitely call it. I'm not seeing any question, and I believe. Okay, yeah, good to know. Please try and this is just the simplest ever example that you are going to be seeing as regards promise. So it's not totally clear. It's not totally. It's not like it's not like it's as clear as like that. But if you can get the concepts like this, definitely other things will not be difficult for you. Well, for me, that was not because of it. Well, actually, Sha, I don't want to talk much about that, but I believe it's just a matter of you getting the basics. Once you get the basics, you can continue from there. Thank you all for joining the class. Tomorrow is going to be the end of our lecture, so let's make it fun. I will try as much as possible to come earlier. Then we can talk about that mini project. Maybe we can have one or two quiz. So thank you all for joining the class. We'll meet definitely another time. Bye.